Hello, everybody. It's I, Scarface 1, here for the 2025 MLB playoff predictions, or the MLB postseason predictions. Sorry, I know, sometimes, they always get the terminology off and stuff. We're doing this in the same format as the 2024 NHL playoff predictions. As in, I don't have the time or the patience or the know-how to just, make an entirely edited video with shitty gameplay footage. So instead, we're going to do this the way we originally did it, with the power of paint.net. On the screen, you have our contenders. I cannot speak today. In the West, what did I say in the West? I don't know, I have no idea what I am saying. But in the National League, we have the Milwaukee Brewers as your number 1 seed, the Philadelphia Phillies as your number 2 seed, the Los Angeles Dodgers of Brooklyn as your number 3 seed, the Chicago Cubs as your number 4 seed, San Diego Padres as your number 5 seed, and the Cincinnati Reds as your number 6 seed. Rest in piss, you will not be missed, New York Mets. Better luck next year, although you probably know that's not going to happen. However, in the American League, this is our contenders. We have the Toronto Blue Jays as the number 1 seed. You have the Seattle Mariners as the number 2 seed. You have the Cleveland Guardians and the number 3 seed. You have the New York Yankees in the number 4 seed. You have the Boston Red Sox in the number 5 seed. And the Detroit Tigers in the number 6 seed. But those are your 12 teams, and they are all fighting for the Commissioner's Trophy at the end of the year, late October, and possibly November if it goes that far. It might, honestly, but you never know. So, where should we start? Well, naturally, I always start over in the National League with all my things. So, let us begin. Cincinnati and Los Angeles. And this is a pretty interesting season for both teams. Los Angeles had a bit of a scare at the end of the year. It seemed like there was a part where they were about to lose the division to these guys down here, which we'll get to in a second, but that did not happen. They, in fact, won the division. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Reds are in a completely different position. They were not expected to win the National League Central. They were not even expected to make the postseason this year. And yet here they are. Luigi wins by doing absolutely nothing. However, if I'm going to be completely honest, LA. Now the thing is about, here's the thing. The thing about, unlike in the NHL, the games and the wild card series, divisional series, and championship series all differ. Well, whereas in hockey, it's all 7 games. Whereas in baseball, it's only 7 game series in the championship series and the World Series. Hey, but in this case, it's going to be LA in 2 games. It's going to be a rather very quick wild card series. And I think the honest to God truth of the matter is just they're just not ready yet. I think the Reds, they're certainly a fantastic team, don't get me wrong, but they're just not there yet. I think they have some solid talent. It just feels like they've accidentally stumbled into the postseason. Watch, they somehow win the pennant, I guess. I highly doubt that. Although, if they somehow beat the Dodgers, that would be the funniest thing in all of humanity. However, we do not live in this reality, at least not at the moment. Because as I'm recording this, 9/29/2025 and 12:36 in the morning, Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this, especially on a school night. I don't know why I'm going on this tirade again, but at the same time, I don't know. The Reds, they either have to be like, they're either going to be like really dominant because they're going to provide a massive scare this postseason, or they're just going to be cannon fodder. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I think they're going to be cannon fodder. No offense to Cincinnati. Trust me, I would love for them to finally to like do the upset of upsets. But man, it just feels so improbable. The defending champs will defend their title at least in the wild card series. Alrighty. Oh dear. Okay, so it's the Padres and the Cubbies. Oh boy. This is gonna be a tough series. Oh gosh. Both teams, both the Cubs and the Padres, have been performing rather well recently, at least to end the season. Cubs, obviously, they got like over 90 wins. Padres got 90 wins for the first time in back-to-back seasons in franchise history. First time in franchise history they get back-to-back 90-win seasons. I don't know. Again, I can't talk because you should probably not talk. The Cubs and Padres actually split their regular season series even, 3 apiece. Cubs won at Wrigley, and the Padres won at Petco, 2-1 per. Although Padres also had another late game comeback, as was the case with last year. I'm going to be completely honest about the Cubs. I am genuinely surprised they made the playoffs this year. I was expecting them to collapse. Somehow they didn't. That being said, however, yep. Is this me being biased? Probably. But it's my video and it's my thing, okay? I'm going to be completely honest. This has to be the year. I think for the Padres, this is it. This is the year. It finally happens. I know people are a bit concerned about this Padres roster. They have been a tad bit inconsistent throughout the season. At times, they've looked like genuine world beaters. Then the next series they underachieve against teams that they should honestly be beating. I think they get over that this postseason, and in a solid 2 games. Oh, a solid 2 games against the Cubs at Wrigley, even though, yeah, they do kind of have a losing record on the road. I think they get over it. All of your concerns, all of your postseason concerns, all of them get eliminated with a series win and a run the Padres do that's generational. They finally get the job done this year. And it starts with a dominant wild card series win against the Cubs. A Cubs team that, remember guys, has made their first playoff appearance since the COVID season. None of the players on the current roster have any playoff experience. Padres have had their fair share of playoff experience, fair share of playoff defeats and embarrassments, and probably also have that chip on their shoulder. Generally always have that chip on their shoulder, especially this year. People didn't expect them to make it this far this year, but I think This is it. That being said, we'll see what happens. I'm actually very confident in the Padres this year. And maybe that is just me being a fan of the team, even though I'm also kind of a fan of the Rockies as well. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Honestly, this is the year for the Padres. This is it. They finally get the job done. Okay. Enough about the wild card series. Both the California teams advance. Cubbies, Reddies are both eliminated. Now, we move on to the American League. It's going to be an odd series here. It's actually the Detroit Tigers and Cleveland Guardians. So you guys remember earlier in the year, it was like not, in fact, it wasn't even like earlier in the year. Earlier this month, we were all like thinking to ourselves, is Detroit actually going to legitimately miss in the postseason? Because the way that they were going and the way that people were talking and the way that people were feeling, they were going to miss the postseason. They had an awful meltdown in September. And yet, here they are playing postseason ball against the Cleveland Guardians, who came behind them. Detroit, who, mind you, at one point, Detroit was the best team in baseball. They were the consensus best team in baseball. They were the favorites. And then they had a late season skid. And now they're no longer favorites. Now people are doubting them. And we'll be completely honest. I'm going to do red this time. I think people and their doubts are going to be vindicated. If I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, the Tigers, they just don't look good right now. They limped into the postseason. And I'm honestly genuinely surprised they made it in. The only reason why it was the Tigers and not the Houston Astros being in this number 6 spot. Oh yeah, by the way, the Houston Astros, they're not in here. It's their first time missing the postseason since 2016. Almost 10 years. That's a pretty damn good playoff streak. And it's a damn good playoff streak. But that playoff streak comes to a close. But the only reason why the Astros are not in this number 6 position is because they lost to the Angels. And also, one of the most hilarious finishes to a season, a walk-off hit by pitch. A walk-off hit by pitch in the Cleveland, Texas game, game 161, that made the Guardians clinch. And oh my gosh, I don't even know how that's possible. But somehow, some way, yeah, from the looks of it, yep, Cleveland won. And that's why, instead of Houston, we get Detroit, a team that, again, backdoored into the postseason, even though they had a bad collapse. Honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, if Detroit didn't make the postseason and it was actually Houston in this spot, them and Detroit and New York would be the biggest debate of who would be the worst collapse. God, it's bad. But yeah, Detroit, they don't look good right now. I'm picking Cleveland in 2 games. Fairly easy. And then we get to our final wildcard spot. Boston versus New York. Red Sox, Yankees. Episode, who the fuck knows? It's too many. But this is the first time they have met in the postseason since 2021. Now, in that 2021 playoffs, it was only a single game because that's what the wild card format was. Just the one game. Now, it's a series. Wild card series has been extended to a best of 3 series. Whoever can win 2. Red Sox, Yankees, you know the story. These teams never liked each other. These teams will not ever like each other. They will always do whatever it takes to see and hope that the other team loses. They win. Yankees, they made the World Series last season. They would lose in 5 to the Doyers. However, they're looking to make some revenge, defend their American League pennant. However, I don't know if they're going to do that, because I think the Boston Red Sox will win this series in 3 games. Now, why am I picking this team? I feel like it just feels like so much better. I'm picking the lower seed. I actually picked the lower seed for both of these teams. But Boston, again, they've actually, ever since trading away Rafael Devers, somehow they look amazing. Genuinely surprising that they look good. Ever since they traded away a star franchise face. And yet, they've been one of the best teams in baseball. And it actually, ironically, wasn't because of the pieces they got from the Giants. They've just been playing great baseball. Yoshida playing great baseball. Trevor Story playing great baseball. Freaking Roman Anthony making his MLB debut this year, playing great baseball. Everybody on the Red Sox playing great baseball. Garrett Crochet also playing great baseball. They're all playing great baseball, and they're winning. And they just keep winning. I think that continues in this wild card series. And they have been dominant. They've been really good. Really, really good. Against the Yankees, I think this would be a statement victory. And it would be a statement victory, especially at Yankee Stadium. The problem is, it's going to be a tough series. That's why I'm going to say in 3. But they pull it off, and they get the job done. And I'm confident in the Red Sox to do that. Alrighty. We have 4 teams eliminated, and now, from this point onward, we'll actually save this, because I'm not going to do predictions for the DS and CS until the DS and CS come out. Yeah. We'll see how that turns out. We'll see what happens from this point onward. I'm hoping that I eat the majority of shit for this season. I'm really, really happy that this one is correct. I could care less about this side of the board, if I'm going to be completely honest. But we end here. We end here in this first wildcard predictions here on the Scarface 1 YouTube channel. Again, for a guy who can't talk. I know, surprising. However, I think this is going to be a good playoffs. It's going to be worth every second. This is going to be, this feels like They got a shit ton of drama built up at the best possible moment. And therefore, play ball. All right. Subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't want to. Have a good one, guys. Good night.
Bye.